Hey friends, in today's video we'll be talking about the new Iron Banner game mode, Tribute. Psych! Bungie was ahead of the feedback and changed it back to Control, so we get to play Control for the rest of the week. I think that's really nice that they respond to player feedback that quickly, so thumbs up. That being said, I am going to still give my first impressions on Tribute, and I already know no one's actually going to watch the video. They're just going to the comment section, it's my favorite mode, or it's my least favorite mode. That's great. I'm still going to give my first impressions, and keep an open mind. That's the most important thing. Just because Eruption was my least favorite game mode doesn't mean that immediately after, when we get the new game mode, Tribute, that I just assume it's bad. I go in with an open mind and don't let one bad play session influence me in a way that I don't want to improve or understand the mode better. To assist with that, I decided to play controller for my play sessions because I thought it would be a self-handicap in a way that makes me pay more attention to winning the mode by nature of playing the game mode and not just brute forcing the win by just deleting the entire team. I played so much controller that the left thumbstick rubber actually burned off, so I had to take one of the long thumbstick caps and put that on the short one because I don't use the stilts right now. I play a standard Xbox Elite controller, I think the Gen 1s, with 5 game sensitivity, 1.0 ADS, and 0.7 sprint turn. So while that is very slow, I'm not going to pretend like it's not slow. I don't play that much controller, so I like to keep it slow so that it's easier to reacquaint myself with controller when I pick it back up every other 3 weeks. Might as well just finish that tangent and say I only play controller because I ultimately plan to play more Xbox and I can't play mouse and keyboard there unless of course I'm a device user. But regardless, playing controller is nice from time to time because it changes the effective loadouts for me. Like sidearms are just so much better here. Anyway, that tangent aside, let's talk about the stages of grief with this game mode when I first experienced it. So I went in about a day late. I was grinding Phantasy Star before doing some other side tasks. All my friend group had played this mode and they had their own impressions on the mode. And so maybe on their game 20, I joined in and I was like, all right, I'm so excited for this mode. I got an open mind and every single one of them went silent. And that's when I knew this was gonna be an experience to say the least. And so the match queues up. I play it normally. At some point in the match, I see that the enemy team is wall hacked, and I question. I was like, what is triggering this? How are they wall hacked? They go, my friend group goes, if you pick up 5 crests, they can see you through the wall. And I said, okay, so I just won't ever pick up 5 crests. I'll stop at 4 or jump off the map. And then I say, wait a second. When you die, you make a crest. So it's like they get punished for getting a kill on you. What if you sui? What if you get mountaintop and shoot the floor right off spawn? Do you make a crest? So sure enough, the next game we try that. That doesn't work, by the way. But what you can do is take a lot of crests and jump off the map. I'm talking like run into the crowd, pick up 10, jump off the map, and those are 10 crests that nobody has access to. And why would you ever do this? The answer is because sometimes banking is impossible. Like they just have too many people looking at it, and since you have to hold the prompt to bank, you're going to inevitably get wiped on that bank. They're going to pick up the crest and then they're going to bank it. But if in that time you can just throw the 10 off the map, that's better. Of course, that risks the game going to time, but this is just like my first impressions and optimally thinking of how to play this game mode. So needless to say, I was disappointed with just the idea of having wall hacks in another objective game mode. I don't know who's cooking at Bungie with that one, but it sours the mood every single time I see it. Despite that, I still wanted to move on and try to find some enjoyment in this game mode, so I started playing the objective. My inexperienced strategy was to rat for kills, then pick up a bunch of crests when I have a super and drop a well onto the bank, right? That's like the most basic strategy you can come up with, and the sad part is it was effective. However, the game throws a wrench at you by having the bank locations change every 30 seconds or so. So depending on how it times out, you might make it to the bank in the last second and not be able to deposit the crest. And then the banks move to a new location that you're unaware of. So you have to clear the enemy team to get to a bank or to return to yours. And you're not going to get the clear every time. Sometimes you're going to get 4 down out of 6 and they're going to be split spawned in a way that you can't get to a bank in time. But if you're Moses and you can part the Red Sea with a Beyblade and somehow get the team wipe, pop off play, and get the bank in, you will trigger a hunt. And so when I did that for the first time, I was popping off. I was like, yes, let's go, a hunt. What does that mean? So someone in the friend group explained, some turrets drop down in the middle, and now there's a center bank. So I asked the question, like, so the side banks just go away? They're like, yeah, pretty much. I said, well, that's problematic, right? Because the entire enemy team is going to spawn on the bank, and they're going to farm the turrets to use like perks or get super energy or something. And sure enough, as I'm complaining about that, down goes a well. Entire enemy teams guarding the bank, making it impossible to progress. And so we're at a stalemate, waiting for the well to go out. And if anybody gets impatient and drops a crest and gets ran over, well, they run back to their base of operations and they get double the score for it. So somehow, me making a pop-off play ended up shooting my team in the foot, and that is what felt terrible about my first impressions. So many situations that would otherwise be a good play, in hindsight, in the VOD review, was the worst play I could possibly make. So after some time had passed, I went to solo queue and decided to test my understanding of the mode. And I got some compliment mail from a teammate that said, "Thanks for playing the objective," and that triggered the hell out of me, because what does playing the objective mean in this mode? When if I get kills and the opponents pick up the crest off the bodies, well, I just gave them points, right? And if I have the audacity to pick up 5 crests or more, I get wall hacked, which isn't helping me slay, which isn't helping us get map control, which really doesn't matter because map control randomly moves around the map, right? You're following what I mean. The thing about objective modes is like everybody treats it like the nerd emoji where they say, play the objective, you have to stand on the zone. And that is true. That is how you capture the zone, but that is not what ultimately yields a capture. What yields a capture is slaying the opponents, putting them in the fucking spawn screen so that you can stand on a flag without getting naded out or sniped across the map or that type of thing. You need to slay to free up the space to get map control, to free up the time to capture the objective, and that is a team effort. And it goes beyond just what the scoreboard shows you. It's not just standing on a zone or getting kills. Sometimes it's securing power ammo in a way that lets more than 2 people grab it. Sometimes it's getting a kill on a super, getting a clutch suppress, that type of thing. When it comes to the other objective game modes in Destiny, I have a pretty clear idea of what playing the objective looks like as a team. But in Tribute, I don't know what a good play is. There are too many variables at play here. Think about it. It's like, I grab crest and go to a bank, but if it triggers a hunt and it's a beneficial hunt for the enemy team, they farm the turrets or something like that, it turns out to be a bad play. What about lobby balancing and skill-based matchmaking algorithms right here? Because I have to play around the expectations of my teammates, right? Which is they might not know what this game mode is, or they might not be skilled enough to follow a game plan. And so sometimes it's the worst of both. They don't know what they're doing, and they also can't do anything. And in that case, that changes the rules of the game for me if I want to have any chance of playing the objective, any chance of winning the game. Like I said, the basic strategy was farm super to get a well to guarantee a bank. Why? Because if I played by myself, I am never getting a bank, and all I'm doing is just giving the enemy team crest. So I had to tactically jump off the map to get crest off of the map, so that I could rush my super, so that I could be some of the first points on the board. And if I got lobby balanced hard enough, that was impossible, because my teammates ended up either helping in a way that was negative to winning the match, or just being crest fodder and basically being AFK. So with those factors contributing to multiple mercies in a row, whether I'm winning or losing, and I sometimes felt like when I got mercied, I played phenomenally. I think the issue is skill disparity within the lobby. As if a high skill and a low skill player exist in the same lobby, it's going to feel very, very strange because the game state is like unreadable. But as soon as you start having a bunch of low skill players or a bunch of high skill players, your path to being in control of the match is a lot more clear. So for that, I recommended that my friend group just ignore the objective and play it like Clash, because even if we try our hardest, we're going to lose. So you might as well have fun losing instead of hate attempting to win, right? So that was my take. And it's the same thing for when you're solo queue and you're high skill. Like, I could try my hardest to be in control of the match, but I'm ultimately going to be disappointed because of lobby balancing. The only time that changes is when you grab a team of 6, all high skill players. And that is when you can start implementing some strategy that has some counterplay and is somewhat readable, which is nice. As usual with the Iron Banner though, if you're too good at this, you run out of opponents, but they just don't want to play you anymore. Sometimes they'll even throw in some insults like, how could y'all play like this? And I have to question it, like, what do you mean play like this? You mean organized? We are organized, but you should hear our comms. We're just like arguing about anime and stuff, and I'm asking like, which one is the quintuplet with the headphones? Yeah, that one. And oh wait, there's a well in mid. Can we? Anyone got a scorch nade? We can chain ignite it. Chain ignite it. Anybody got a nade? Okay, you got a nade. Perfect. On 3, throw it. Okay, perfect. All right, team wipe. Let's go. Bank the crest. Something like that. That's exactly how that happens. So I try to paint the picture that playing organized is very different from trying like it's a tournament, calling out everything, eyes on the prize, just go for the win, that type of thing. Sure, that definitely makes the game state a lot more readable, but the reward for doing so is you run out of opponents, your matchmaking queues take forever, and when you go back to solo queue, it's going to be demonic, because that lobby balancing is, Anyway, later in the session, it clicked for me exactly what I needed to use to best my chances of contributing to the match. And lobby balancing was like the hyperbolic time chamber for this. I got so many useful practice reps and was able to change my strategy little by little until I landed on Teraba, because it's a submachine gun that you build up a kill perk, and that's the problem with this game mode. You need almost 2 back-to-back team wipes to guarantee 1 bank by yourself. Remember, my teammates might as well be AFK. The second part to that is weave lock. So you can get this armor lock like from Halo and move around with it, which is crazy if you ask me, and you could pick up crests during that state. So if you push in with Ravenous Beast to get your team wipe, but they throw too much kitchen sink stuff at you, well then you pop weave lock and run away. Or you use your grapple to get to a bank before they can even look at the bank. And this was my key to success, to finally tipping the scales in my favor. I still didn't know what the hell was going on, but I had a loadout that could react to any given situation and had a couple mistake fixers, as well as one fun implement in the Lunafaction boots. Now, I don't recommend using Lunafaction boots. I'm just saying it was fun for me, because if the game mode's not fun, honestly, I'm just gonna go farm the new dungeon or something. So sometimes I would weave walk away. Enemy team would be like, yeah, we can't kill him. Just focus on his AFK teammates. They're much easier. Then I would drop the Lunafaction rift around a corner and play Call of Duty for the next 15 seconds. It's wild. Then all of the crests would be on the floor. And so then you just grapple to a bank, deposit. Now it's the hunt. Now you super. And look, a mercy. It's like I finally solved this mode. And I started off the play session being completely lost and kind of frustrated and disappointed in this game mode. Like, if you asked me to rank this game mode on a tier list with all the other Iron Banner game modes, it'd probably be second to last, with Eruption being the absolute last. And the commonality between those two game modes is you feel punished for making a heads-up play, and when you finally solve the game mode, the solution is very, very boring to implement, or just stale. Not even boring, right? Like, this was obviously fun for the first couple matches, but if I had to do this for a whole week straight, no. That doesn't sound... What if the opponent starts playing like this too? Then it really is going to be just like playing rock, paper, scissors with only rock. And at that point, I might as well, again, just go farm the dungeon. That's what makes the regular control mode, or even Fortress. Fortress is kind of solved, right? You bring wells and bubbles, but the difference is you can sort of leverage a skill difference to bring something else to the picture and blow up bubbles and wells and turn it into a mini game of shutting down bubbles and wells. It's very, very fun in that regard, because there's so many anti-super strategies that other players don't implement or don't even try. And that's what made Fortress fun to play throughout the week. By contrast, both Eruption and Tribute have a variety of factors that lead to it being very stale very quick for a higher skill player. Number 1, you are actively punished for making heads-up plays. Number 2, if there's disparity of skill in the lobby, the game state is really, really difficult and sometimes impossible to read, which could lead to very linear loadout solutions, which means less variety within the ability to win the game mode. The final thing isn't really the game mode's fault, it's just the reality of matchmaking right now. If you have a good team of 6, you will struggle to find matches. You will struggle to find good matches. Might not even find one in an entire play session. It's that bad. The thing about Control and Fortress is that we can sort of self-referee as a friend group. We can accommodate lower skill players, and all of us still have a relatively good time using anything we want. And even if we take an odd loss from here or there, it's fine. The match was fun to get to that conclusion. I can't say the same about Eruption or Tribute, because it's so random unless you tip everything in your favor by getting high skill players playing coordinated with the best possible loadouts. That's like the only way it's readable. And if that's the only way, and the other team is doing the only way, I don't think it's going to be an interesting match. I think it's going to be boring. The best way I can describe that, because my viewers all don't play in that environment, is when you're playing comp and you hear a wish ender on the enemy team. Oh, hold up. I'll say that in a sec. Watch this drive. Hold on. I might be able to melee him out of it.
What the fuck, man?
The best way to describe that feeling is when you hear a wish ender in comp and you know that the only way to keep up with it is to put it on, and then you're both looking at a wall-hacked outline of each other, waiting for the zone to pop up while you just teabag back and forth through the wall, because realistically, if any of you peek, you're going to trade. On a macro scale, that is how this game mode feels when two high-skill players are going at it. So, closing notes for this video, Bungie themselves calls Iron Banner a celebration of PvP, and that one has me puzzled, a giant question mark. While I occasionally have a pop-off moment in Tribute or Eruption, at the cusp of it all, when the game mode is balanced, when PvP is balanced, when there is care given to the sandbox, it's really easy to celebrate your own successes within a match, but it's even cooler to recognize your opponent doing something awesome and celebrating that too. Eruption and Tribute takes that away because a lot of the time you go, you were gifted that, you didn't earn shit. That's your internal monologue. So, maybe if the PvP was balanced, we would celebrate each other's successes more.